I've known him for a short time. His name is Karim Abdullah Muhammad. We'd like to say assalamu alaikum and welcome you to our program this evening. Our topic tonight we've chosen is African American business concerns and community watch. And what I'd like to do, Brother Karim, if I might, just to get our program rolling and to get our community involved in it, what's so important about the African American business concerns and community watch? Could you kind of give us an overview of what it represents?
Okay. Could I do this, and this probably would explain it a little bit more. I have here a proclamation, and the proclamation reads as far as it's saying that this proclamation is the month for March, April, August, and December will be the African American Economic Month, whereas the African American community is suffering from a serious economic problem, whereas in the African American community, money do not even turn one time, while other communities turn 5, 10, 12, even 13 times, whereas the problem results directly from African Americans spending their money with other communities before spending to build their own. Whereas African Americans need to become more independent on themselves for their food, clothing, shelter, and employment, whereas African American children need inspiration and hope to become entrepreneurs themselves. Therefore, let it be resolved that the month of March, April, July, and December will be African American Economic Month. We are asking all people to make a strong effort during these months to spend their money with African American community for goods, service, administrated, owned by African Americans. We determined that our objective is for African Americans to become self-sufficient by establishing businesses and an economic base of our own, because we know there can never be total equality for people until they have gained economic equality. Now, this is the proclamation, and we issued several months, and the months that we have picked are most of the high-peak months to make it consciously. Now, I know a lot of people are saying for the 12 months, and really we should be aware for the total 12 months being conscious of shopping with African-American business, because that's the base of the community. Once that's the economic base of the community. Once those dollars start leaving out of the community, and what the people don't understand, when the dollars leave out of your community begins to deteriorate. That's where you get slums. That's where a lot of deterioration comes. And a lot of other communities, you see, they have a lot of development going on, because the dollars that sometimes we have be going to other communities to establish their community, and still spending the money there with the African American community or the African American business people. We will see the development of those businesses right there. We see the benefit of those dollars. You know that it is said that the African American people spend $300 billion a year, but the money do not even stay in their community. The $300 billion go out to benefit other ethnic groups. Community. If we would keep this money in our community, then we would see a change. We would see some development. We would see some growth. But what is a serious problem now, because actually what we are practicing, what I call it, is economic suicide, because we're taking those dollars out, causes the community to die, calls for us as a people to give a reflection to our children with no hope, because once they come in and they don't see no hope in their community, they don't see businesses, they don't see striving African-American businesses, they don't see the people shopping and striving with African-American people, it sent off a bad signal to them. And and the main thing I think that we should realize is this, is that right now we have our children sitting at home, we have our families there, and what message do we want to send off to our children? Right now they're saying, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, so they're going to be African-American doctors, African-American lawyers, African-American entrepreneurs. So if we don't show them that we're going to support the African-American business today, then it sent off a bad signal to them.
So in other words, you're saying that when they become doctors, they're going to be afraid to do this because there's not going to be any business directed toward them.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And it must be a rainbow. They must see some benefit. That's why right now we have a lot of crime, a lot of doping. They see the money that's in drugs. They see the benefit. They see the man flashing the dollars. They see the big cars. They see all the rainbows that they want, and it's seen. But if we can show them that rainbow in business, If they can see that African Americans are going to support the African Americans' efforts in business and stuff like this, just encourage them to go and be a doctor, to go and be a lawyer, to go and be a businessman, to go and go out in the community and be a responsible community citizen.
Okay, let me ask you then since you've made the broad view of the situation of business, then you must also be looking at some form of problem that exists within us that hinders us from spending our money with each other. How would you address that? If there's not this desire in the African American community in general to spend the money with each other, there's got to be some form of a problem. How do you view that problem? I mean, there's got to be a reason, wouldn't you say?
Right, but because probably this is the only program, but this is not the only program, but this is we are the only people that would have to address that concern. The Korean people, they automatically have self-awareness that they are to spend their money to help develop Korean people, Japanese people, Jewish people. Their money turn around 10 to 13 times. But we have to understand that we have been in a situation which we call it slavery, and we are still have those effects from slavery. If you have, once slavery is done and nobody come and undo what was done, undo the bad training that was put on us. In other words, we had a bad habit of creating masters, spending our money. We take the money and create a master. And right there, we got the same habit. Everybody we see in the face, the Jew came in our community, we made him rich, he established. The Italian came in our community, made him rich, we established. Koreans are now in our community, we make him rich, and then we go establish. But when it comes to us, we make all type of excuses where they don't have the service that we want, they don't have this we want. But now the Korean come in, he may be on the street, he may not have everything we want neither. But our mind have been trained to create a master. It reminded me of this movie once I saw this it's called The Last Dragon.
Yeah,
and on this movie, this guy just was studying looking for a master to be. And this I think it was a Chinese, was trying to tell him then that look within yourself, and he didn't understand that. He just went here looking for a master, went there looking for a master because he wanted a master. And in our concept, look like that we are looking for a master. And what we don't understand, when we take our dollars, we take $300 billion a year and give it to other ethnic groups, and then come back and beg for those dollars. We need college funds. We need jobs. We need all this. If we would keep the $300 billion in our community, these things would help develop our own community. We wouldn't have to go back to that community and get it developed in the first place because we would have the money there.
It would be already there. You're bringing out some very, very good points in trying to see the effects of what business does. And from what I'm gathering of what you're saying is that if the money is circulating around within our own community, then we can build the institutions that would be necessary for our growth.
Right.
That would give our children the kind of views that we would like to see them have.
Right.
But because we're giving our money to other people, that means this money is just going out and we are not benefiting from it. Now, even with the education that we have as an ethnic group, because we are highly educated people,
right.
And in all phases of the American society, you'll find us there. Why is it, do you think, then, is this an overflow of the effect of slavery that even our educated people don't teach this kind of concern to the general masses? I mean, they have the ear, they're in the schools, they're in the colleges, they're in the business arenas of other people, but we are not encouraging each other to support each other.
Right.
So it seems to me like African-American businesses close up because of lack of support.
Right, and then also that we must realize, even as a ethnic group or as a people, we must have community responsibility. That means it's not any other ethnic group responsibility to come in and employ us. We give them that, we give them employment. We should have, when we educate our children, we should educate our children not only just from the point of consumers. We must realize God did not create a race of consumers. A race of people just want to work and not establish business of their own. That was created by an effect of slavery. That's not a natural. That's not a natural way that society grows. That's not a natural habit for any other people. That's not natural.
Well, when I think about what you're saying, right, and I'm looking at how we as an ethnic group go and spend our money with others, it seems to me then that there's this inclination within us to make everybody think that we are something that we're not by saying we can be spendthrift. We can go to other ethnic groups and show them that we can spend as much money as they can, but we don't do it with our own. It seems like we still don't want to see each other successful, you know. I'm not going over, because you hear it among us. You travel in the community, and matter of fact, I was mentioning a couple of weeks on a program about a woman who was talking to her nephews about going to a flea market way away from where they live at, and she's in a flea market with the same products that they're going somewhere else to get. And she asked them the question about if there was a Caucasian, a Chinese, and an African American selling the same product at the comparable and comparable prices, which one would they go to? And each one of them gave an answer that showed that they weren't interested in going and spending with their own. They said they'd go to the Korean maybe because they might be able to get a cheaper price, or they go to the Caucasian, or whoever they saw first. So we don't seem to have a commitment or this kind of responsibility to our own to see us grow as an ethnic group. And do you see this as being a major problem with us?
I see it as being a real major problem. I don't think, you know, most of us don't think that we have been affected through slavery. But the very fact shows that we have been affected, that we don't want to take on responsibility. That the very fact that we have to have a conversation to tell African-American people that they should support African-American businesses. If only 5% of the $300 billion spent a year stay in African-American community, we give it to other ethnic groups, and then we go to those functions and ask them, oh, come and help us, come and help the NAACP, come and help the Negro College Fund, come and help. We go right back to those different organizations after giving them all those dollars and come back and beg for the crumbs that they give us. But if we would keep the money in our community and let that money, $300 billion, evolve in our community, we would see those benefits and we wouldn't have to ask other people for that. What we need to understand is that is my child going to school, Korean children going to school, other ethnic group children going to school, that God didn't create this child to come and say, well, you, the Korean child, now you're supposed to give him a job when he gets bigger. The Jewish child, you're supposed to give my son a job when he gets bigger. All of us have a responsibility. My son has a responsibility to create jobs just like their children have a responsibility to create jobs. But if we've taken our money and given it to other ethnic groups before we give it to develop our own businesses, we're saying, look, that these children's harm, I'm going to give to your child because I want your child to be over my child and my child to work for your child. So all I want for you to do is give him a job. I'm saying that's not the right thinking. And that thinking is a direct effect of slavery.
We're talking with Karim Abdullah-Muhammad, who is a businessman here in the local area, and we're dealing with a subject that is kind of sensitive to all of us in our community, and that's concerning the business watch and the community concerns that we have as far as how our money is spent. This is a live program, and you're free to call in with questions or concerns that you may have in dealing with the topic that we have. Getting to the point where you were speaking about our youth and education, and what part does education play in business? Because if you look at the local educational system, from grammar school all the way up through college, you very seldom hear of the kind of curriculum that's going to teach the African American, or to teach, or at least we're the least affected by it. I don't know what they're teaching because we don't seem to get it. How to be entrepreneurs, how to be business people. It seems like we go to school for the express purpose of coming out and asking someone for a job. And the one that has the spirit of the entrepreneur, they're not encouraged in our community. So is this a direct, would you say that this is a direct concern of the people who have the spirit? Because to me, I don't see how we can blame any ethnic group for setting up in our community when they know that we're consumers.
Right.
You see? So would you say that that is a direct responsibility of the educational system?
I would say so, that there's the responsibility of everyone. It's the responsibility of the mother, the father, the family that is home to educate everybody in why they should, what is the importance of keeping their money into their community. But we also must understand, in the sense that we must take responsible. I'm trying to emphasize that word responsibility, because we have a responsibility. It's not other people's responsibility to take care of us. And the only way that we can take care of us is that we learn to keep our economics in our community and develop our community. Matter of fact, we should be employing Koreans. We should be employing Jewish people. We should be employing other nationalities. I mean, why do they have to employ us? Why can't we employ them? I'm saying that we should have the mind that we go out, that we're business people, and that we should employ. We should go out and try to employ the world.
Now, the average person may be looking at this program and you're saying, well, these people talking racist. This is what they're going to accuse you of when you're talking about getting people to spend their money with their own ethnic group. Yeah. How would you address that type of
to spend your money with your own is a God-given right. The self-preservation have never been racist. For me I'm African-American. For me to take care of my family's African-American, I mean, that's not racist. And for African-Americans, my point is this, is that they are saying, if you're saying, well, to spend your money is being racist, but I'm saying to put the responsibility on somebody else is more racist. To tell the Jews, oh, you're supposed to take care of me, here's my money. Or to tell a Korean, here's my money. I'm saying that's more racist thought and irresponsible thought. Okay. So I'm saying that's more of not taking care of what I'm saying today is not racist. What I'm saying today is what each community is already doing, except the African-American community. They're taking care of their own. They are taking care of their own, and they are helping others. And that's what I'm saying that we should do. We should take care of our own and help others. But we should make sure that our dollars stay in our community and that we should evolve in our community. And if it don't make any difference if other businesses come in our community that are striving, that donate, that give money back to the community, we should support the efforts, the good efforts of those businesses, whether they're Jewish business, whether Korean business, or whatever business they may be. We support the good efforts of those businesses that support us. But at the same time, we should make sure that we're supporting our own efforts. We should make sure that that $300 billion is making sure that that $300 billion come back into our community.
Okay, well, now we have, this is a local program here in the local area. And we may be touching a few in the community who may be watching this program. But when you talk about big business and you're talking about people who spend large amounts of money on advertising to stimulate the media, is one of the most powerful tools that we know. It seems like, the little efforts that we may put out in programs like this to hammer on the conscience of the people to make them see 23 hours is being dominated by the overall community that is extracting our money because they know we're consumers. Is there any other suggestions that you may have to get us to understand how we can begin to have this kind of ethnic consciousness to be able to support and build our own community? How would you suggest we do it?
Mostly what I reflect on that is a conscious thought to me, I reflect on my children. I reflect on the generations that's coming after me, and I want to know what signal, and I'm trying to sending them a signal that we're going to support them. You're going to be a businessman, I'm going to support you. You're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, we're going to support you. So we have to make the efforts to support those businesses today. And if the children, and if they see us consciously supporting the efforts of the African-American businesses today, I'm pretty sure that they would come up and say, well, yeah, I see that, because they would see the money, they would see the good homes, they would see the good life that everybody would like to live, and they would see reflecting it. They would see that reflected. But I'm pretty sure if you tell them that, look, black doctors are no good, or African-American doctors are no good, African-American lawyers is no good, and don't go to their businesses. Their businesses are too high. Their businesses are too regular. I'm pretty sure whatever he was going to be, a business or a lawyer or a doctor, you just discouraged him. So the only way for us to support their efforts is us to support our efforts today.
So they can see us doing it now, so they can say, when I grow up, if I do this, I'm going to have a future.
Right.
I see your point. So that does kind of zero in on the kind of concerns that we have to. It seems like it's an affair that comes from the home as well, and it's got to be a demonstrated affair.